Today, the topic that we're talking about is oversupply, so I'm super excited to go over it with you. And for those of you who are not familiar, I want to welcome you to Mindful Breastfeeding. We are here to give education, information, and support to breastfeeding moms, especially if you are modifying your diet. So we really do this with kindness, with education, with support, and healing at the same time. We go through multiple steps to get there. And so today, I wanted to talk about oversupply because last week I did a video on low supply. However, there are many of you who actually are struggling with oversupply as well. So I wanted to address that. And how we're going to do that is we're going to go through the signs and symptoms of mom and baby. We're going to go over some strategies to help and then some resources for support that are available for you as well. So what I would love for you to do is let me know if this is something that you are struggling with, if this is something that you haven't thought about maybe, or just something that you're curious about if you have considered it. And we're going to go kind of in depth today on this. And at the same time, I want you to know there's plenty of other resources available too. So I want to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Dr. Beata Harashim. I am a doctor of physical therapy, and I am fellowed in the Academy of American Orthopedic Manual Physical Therapists. I also have degrees in nutrition and psychology. And at the same time, I'm not a medical doctor and I'm not an allergist or a lactation consultant. However, with our own personal experience of nursing my daughter, Claudina, with modifying my diet, with a lot of the signs and symptoms that she presented with, we have learned a lot. And I've been able to use my clinical experience as a doctor of physical therapy to apply this and my nutrition background to really put things together and put the pieces of the puzzle together. So it's really exciting that we've been able to help many moms with this so far. And let me just double check because the screen shares something new that I'm doing on Facebook. Okay. So if you can see my screen, I just want to make sure, can you put a 1 in the chat box just to make sure that you can see my presentation here? And I'm going to go ahead and get started, but I'll check this chat box in a moment. So just a 1 if you can see my screen. Or if you can't see it, just write, I can't see it in the chat box. That way I'll know I need to adjust something. So I'll go ahead and get started with the signs and symptoms in mom. So this is from the Cincinnati Children's Hospital website, and there are multiple other resources as well as far as websites and other providers that will give you very similar information. But these are some of the hallmark signs of having an oversupply in mom. So leaking a lot of milk. So I'm not sure about you, but you can raise your hand if you have leaked milk on your breastfeeding journey. I definitely did. So I remember the miserable feeling of just like milk pouring everywhere and it ruining, clothes and like couches and all sorts of things. So that is a sign that you may have an oversupply. The next thing is breast pain or engorgement from a feeling of being extra full. So this is a symptom, right? So mom is feeling this pain. The engorgement is like a really hard feeling breast. Sometimes you may end up with like plugged ducts or mastitis from it. So those are like hard little bumps that you can feel. So if you have experienced a lot of breast pain, a lot of engorgement, that you feel really just extra full, you may have an oversupply as well. Then we go into nipple pain. So this sometimes can be from the infant biting, chewing, clenching down to slow down the fast let down. So that's when that letdown happens. Sometimes it's too much for baby and they'll try and stop it. They'll try and slow it down. So I'm curious if you have experienced that. And then again, the recurring plugged ducts and mastitis. So if you get, a plugged duct here and there or mastitis once, that's not a huge thing. I think that's fairly normal in some situations. However, if it happens over and over, so I've definitely worked with some moms who have had repeated plugged ducts and mastitis. So that is a sign that you have oversupply as well. And so I want to go back into a little bit of what oversupply is, right? So oversupply is essentially that you are producing more milk than needed for your baby. And this happens for multiple reasons. So sometimes your body just produces more. Sometimes there's extra stimulation, which is producing more. Sometimes baby isn't adequately latching, and therefore they are not transferring as much milk, so there's signals to produce more as well. So there's many different reasons why things may be going on, and I just got a great pop-up on my laptop saying that a restart is needed, so I hope it can wait until this is done. So those are some of the signs and symptoms, and again, some of the reasons why we may have oversupply. So again, I'd love to know if you have experienced any of this. And now we're going to go into signs and symptoms in baby. So there are many, and again, this is from the Cincinnati Children's Hospital, but they may be gulping or coughing or choking, sputtering during feeds. They may be frequently like popping on and off, detaching from the breast during feedings. They may be really fussy between feedings or like wanting to feed all the time, even after they've had plenty of milk. They may be frequently spitting up. They may be having lots of gas. They may be having these explosive green, frothy, watery stools. And sometimes they can even have mucus and blood in the stool because of this. They may be having an overly fast weight gain. And they may have reflux, colic. They may have been diagnosed, quote unquote, I'm going to use that term very loosely just because it was on the website, with lactose intolerance or even failure to thrive. So these are many of the things that if you're, listening to this and you're like, well, wait, those are a lot of the signs of the allergy in my baby. And that's exactly, I want something to go ding ding for you, okay? Because this was something that we missed for a long time on our journey. And a lot of the time, the signs and symptoms of an allergy or something to do with mom's diet mimics, I'm sorry, said that backwards. The signs and symptoms of oversupply can mimic the signs and symptoms of an allergy. So it can go misdiagnosed for a really long time. And this is why I encourage all of the beautiful moms I work with to get support for lactation first, before going down the diet route or starting the diet route, but not jumping into crazy elimination and crazy modifying of the diet. Because sometimes, why do we want to make your life more stressful when we don't need to at all? So I'm curious if your baby presents with any of these signs and symptoms, and if you have considered lactation as a piece of the puzzle for you. So the other thing I want to mention is when I went through these two slides, if there's anything that really stands out for you, I want you to type it in the chat box. What it does is it helps you remember that, and it also helps our community because we're a group of moms, and mom brain is a real thing. So sometimes moms may not be able to focus, they may be distracted while they're watching things, or they might not have time to watch the whole video. So if you put something in the chat box and other moms see that, you're helping them get the information as well. So definitely do that if you find anything really interesting, if there's any aha moments that you get. And then I could have mentioned this earlier, but if you are watching live, please do #live and where you're watching from, how old the baby is. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and do #replay. And then the same thing where you're watching from and how old baby is. So the next thing let's go into is a couple strategies. There are many strategies that can help. However, I want to touch just on a few. And the key is that you really want a lot of support as you are going through this journey. So I want to give you a couple strategies to help. However, it's a disservice for me to tell you that this is all you have to do. And it's the same thing when I answer questions in the group, or when moms just message me with questions. It's a disservice for me to just tell you an answer and just forget about it, because there's so much more to the picture. So that is why I really highly recommend you getting extra support and guidance on this journey, whether it is with lactation, whether it is with other medical providers, whether it is with the emotional and mental aspects of things. So these are just some starting points, and what I want you to know is this is not the whole picture. This is just something that you can start and see if it makes a difference for you, but I still want you to get support and guidance. So the first thing is pumping and use of hakas. So what we see a lot of the time, if you're a member of mom groups, etc., you can see moms with like these huge stashes of milk, right? They have freezers full of them. And we all go, oh my gosh, I want that too, right? And so what I want you to know is that if you are exclusively latching your baby, and that means that you are not away from baby. Okay, if you are spending your time with baby, you don't want to be pumping extra. What it's doing is that, so I'll give you a quick example. There was a moment in time when my daughter slept for a few hours overnight, and I would wake up engorged and with breast pain. And what I thought would be a great thing to do was to start pumping, because at 2 a.m., I had a ton of milk and I could get my stash up, right? So I was so excited about that. So I pumped, and at first I pumped and, until nothing else would come out. And so maybe that was 10 minutes or so, and I got a couple ounces, and I was so happy because I was building up my stash. Well, as time went on, then I needed to pump for 15 minutes and 20 minutes for the milk to stop. And then it turned into that I had to wake up twice every night. And it wasn't a night, but during that time that my daughter was sleeping, because of the breast pain and engorgement. So what you're doing every time you pump is you're telling your body to produce more milk at that time. And guess what? If baby isn't eating then, you're actually creating an oversupply, because you're telling your body to produce more than it needs. Same thing goes with those hakas. So hakas are great because they can help catch milk. However, it depends how you use them. So if we are suctioning that haka to our breast, and we're not just catching the letdown, but we're actually using it to get more milk, then we are also possibly creating an oversupply. So the first thing I want you to do is to not go cold turkey with pumping if you have been pumping, because that's something that many moms just aren't educated on. I wasn't. I asked moms around me, I asked my own mom, and no one really had great answers for me. So the thing is, if you are at that point where you are waking up twice to pump, you can't go cold turkey, because that's when the risk of plugged ducts and mastitis happens. So what I want you to do is to slowly decrease your time. So let's say you're waking up twice while baby's sleeping to pump. And this is the thing, if you're always with baby, right? So you are waking up twice, right? And let's say you are pumping for 20 minutes each time. I want you to slowly decrease that, a minute, 2 minutes every time. So now instead of pumping 20 minutes, you're pumping 18 or 19 minutes for each time. And you slowly work your way down until you can take those 2 sessions to 1 session, because now you are slowly telling your body to make less and less milk. So it's key to get guidance with this. So again, I'm just giving you an example. However, you do want support while you're doing this. The other thing I want to mention is if you are away from baby, okay? So let's say you are working for 8 hours of the day, or you're away 10 hours of the day with commuting and all that fun stuff, right? And you are pumping, right? So you want to pump, obviously, when you are away from baby. And some of you do want a little bit of a stash. So there is one time, one ideal time that is you can pump without increasing your supply, and there are some regulations around it. So if you'd like information on that, please put stash in the comments, and I'll be able to tag you in that resource. I did a video where I answered that question as well. So that's the first thing. You want to either, if you just started, stop the extra pumping, stop the haka where it's suctioned on, or slowly wean off of it. The next thing is feeding positions. So there are some feeding positions that can help with this. So let's talk about gravity, right? Gravity pulls things down. So if baby is under your breast while you're feeding them, that milk, gravity is going to help that milk spray in there even stronger. And that can, again, create a lot of gas. It can create baby not having a great latch. It can have them choking and coughing and sputtering. And it can also irritate their GI system, which is where those signs and symptoms come from. So one thing you can try is different feeding positions. And we want ones where gravity is actually working against the milk. So down in this picture, you can see a laid back breastfeeding position where baby is on top of mom. And so that way, gravity is slowing down the milk. So that's something that you can try. There's plenty of other positions to try. This also can be challenging depending on your breast size. It can be challenging, with what you have to work with, all sorts of things. So that's where you want guidance and support as well. And the third strategy that can absolutely help is an international board certified lactation consultant. So these are specially trained lactation consultants, and they are kind of the cream of the crop. They have international boards that they have to meet and pass. And so these are the ones that I can help you find. So these are, there are highly recommended ones as well. If you are in Connecticut, I have some local resources for you as well. However, these international board certified ones are international, they're worldwide. So wherever you are, if you have trouble finding one, please let me know, and I have some resources. I have some, connections that I've made through the years that I can definitely help recommend someone for you. So these are some of the strategies to help. Now let's talk about resources, because like I mentioned, I don't want you doing this alone. I don't want you on this journey alone. It's important that you are supported and that you get a medical provider or a lactation provider to help you on your journey. So some of the resources, again, I mentioned the International Board Certified Lactation Consultants. And what I want you to know is that there is a difference between a regular lactation consultant, maybe someone you saw in the hospital, versus these that are internationally board certified. They do very different evaluations. They do very different assessments. Typical lactation consultants are helpful as well. However, they're not always trained in all aspects of lactation. So they can do some of the basics. However, for some of these more specialized things, you definitely want an international board certified one. And again, please feel free to reach out to me. I can help you find a highly recommended one. I'm actually working on a document right now, which will have all our resources on there. So that's something that you'll be able to sign up for shortly. The next thing is a medical provider who gets it. So if your baby is experiencing these things, if you as a mom are experiencing these things, and you feel unsupported by the medical professionals that you've seen, I absolutely hear you. And this is something that comes up a lot of the time with the moms that I work with and that I consult with. And what I want you to know is that I am in a really unique position because I am a medical provider and I do get it. I have been here, we're 4 years in, we've struggled with many things from the lactation side, from the food side, from modifying our diet to get baby to feel better, and we've made lots of mistakes along the way, and that personal experience has helped me so that now I can see those mistakes in the other moms that I work with. And not necessarily even mistakes, but I can see where we can fill in the gaps. I can see where we're not maybe going in order. I can see where you're maybe jumping too far ahead or moving backwards. And this guidance has been really helpful for moms, and at the same time, just being heard and validated, because this is a really challenging experience that we're on. So I have 2 ways that you can start to work with me, and they are, actually there's more than 2 ways, but these are the 2 I want to mention right now. A guidance call is a really affordable, low-cost option where we can get to know each other. We can really take a deep dive into you and your baby's history, and I can help identify what to focus on, give you one step, one direction, so that you feel confident knowing what to focus on, what direction to go. If that is something that is helpful for you, I do offer one-on-one consultations where then we can continue that relationship and work really closely together so that you can have a medical provider on your team, so that you can have someone to ask questions, in the middle of the night. You can have someone to, check the poop check or get guidance on your diet, on nutrition plans. I create meal plans. I make sure that you're getting adequate nourishment with the nutrition that you need. Even if you are on very few ingredients, there are ways to do that. There's lots of really important things that we can do, and also the emotional aspect. Sometimes we just need to talk to someone. Sometimes we just need to be heard. We just need someone to listen to us. So I'm definitely here for you if you need a vent, if you need to talk through a challenging situation, if you need to talk through a confusing or overwhelming situation where you're just not sure what's going on. I'm here for you as well. And then when we talk about things, it is so much more than just breastfeeding and more than just food. I think all of you can agree. It is such an experience for mom to go through. So something that I am doing right now is called the Holiday Refocus. And it's a couple days before Thanksgiving, so you're not too late. We start with our first live call today at 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested, you can definitely still jump on, send me a message, or I'll drop the link under the video. And even if you're watching this later, you can still jump on. There's rolling enrollment. All of the live trainings are recorded. All the resources are available to you. So even if you jump in later, you can still get the support you need. You would just watch those pieces of the training on your own. And so with the Holiday Refocus, we focus on the experience of mom. We focus on making sure that this holiday season is your best one yet. We focus on making sure that you are confident, you are calm, you feel prepared, you feel supported, and you experience joy during the holidays. Because let's face it, when we are avoiding dairy, right? Dairy is one of those most common ones. It's everywhere, and it can be so stressful to worry about it, to worry about what we're eating, what can we eat, what can we not eat, how do we communicate it, how do we still have fun and enjoy ourselves even when we're watching everyone around us eat all the good stuff, right? So that's something that I struggled with a lot our first two holidays back in 2017 and 2018. And over the past other years, we have made a lot of changes and we have chosen to experience joy. So it's a simple strategy. However, it's not well known and you need some guidance and support to work through it. And it is life-changing because once we start reframing in that sense, we start to see all sorts of new opportunities. We start to see the joy that's right in front of our nose and we didn't see it before. So if that's something that you are interested in, the Holiday Refocus, please reach out to me again. The link will be in the bottom. Again, it's rolling enrollment. However, if you're celebrating Thanksgiving in the U.S., it's just a couple days away, and this is the perfect time for you to get started, get your plan together, get things prepared and ready so that you can really enjoy yourself and have fun with baby, family, friends. So I want to know if you have any questions. Let me jump